sent messengers as bringers of good tidings and warners, so that mankind will have no argument against Allah after the messengers. And ever is Allah exalted in might and wise.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We've been talking a lot about prophets, of course, and we've been talking about Muhammad, peace be upon him. And now it's time for us to talk about what happens in a transitory situation. That means when things begin to really change, things are not the same anymore, and strange things begin to take place. And that's what was happening now at the time of Muhammad and his followers. You see, in the beginning, when he brought the message to worship just one God, some people became a little angry, some thought it was funny, and others accepted this idea, and they decided maybe they would follow this way. But as it progressed and they saw more of their family members going over to this belief, the belief of Abraham and Moses and David and Solomon and Jesus, the belief that there's really only one God. They saw their servants, their slaves, changing and following this way. Then they saw some of them starting to go to the Kaaba, the sanctuary. They even saw some of them trying to stand and pray and bow to this one God of the universe. And they began to worry that now people will laugh at us because some of our own people are going to some new religion. And we're the religious capital of the world. In their mind, they were, because everybody used to come to them during the season of Hajj, the time of the pilgrimage. What will these people think about us? And these guys are trying to put all the gods into one or something, and they're saying God is one. What is that? And we already know the stories and how they suffered, and some were already killed. The persecution continued until some of the people couldn't take it anymore. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, felt that it was a good idea for some of them to move on, to go to another place where they'd be safer. He'd heard about a king, Nagas, or Najas, in a place called Abyssinia, but you would have to cross the Red Sea to get there. He heard this king was a Christian leader. Not only a king, but a Christian leader and a good man. He decided the best thing for the Muslims to do now, those who are weak, those who have no support, no tribal support, as he had, they should go. A group of them left. Some men, some women, and they tried to sneak out in the night just to get away so they wouldn't be seen. When word got around that some of the servants, some of the relatives of the Quraysh, from Bani Hashim, from the other tribes, were escaping, they got upset, and they sent some to follow them, catch them. But by the time they got down to the Red Sea, they'd already gotten into the ship, and they had already gone. They were already on their way to Abyssinia, which is in Africa, by the way. But the king there was good, and they didn't have to worry. They could practice their faith. And look at this. The interesting thing here is these were the good Christians. These good Christians didn't have a problem with the Muslims who would like to follow the religion of Ibrahim. They let them pray. They left them alone. They were nice to them, kind to them, the way that it should be. But the Qurayshi couldn't take it anymore. And they decided, okay, we're going to send an envoy. That means some people. So they picked two really good guys from them. Amr ibn al-As is one of them, and another. And they went. They said, now when you go, take this treasure and bribe your way up to the king and give the gifts to the king and tell him, just give us back our people. So that's what they did. When they got to Abyssinia, they went to the bishops there and they began to bribe them. Oh, I have some gifts. We just want to talk to the king. Can we, And they set it up. And they went to the king and they said, All these gifts we bring you from Mecca. The Meccans, they would like to give you this. You're a nice guy. We heard nice things. And by the way, we had some very foolish people from us, and something got in their head. And they're messed up. They got away from the religion of their forefathers. And they're worshiping some, we don't know, some new religion. And we would like to just have our relatives come back. So if you didn't mind, we know they're here. If we just like pick them up and you have a nice day. But this king was very smart. And he was guided very nicely by Allah. He said, bring them and let me hear. And they did. They brought them. He said, I want to hear what you have to say. And they said, oh, first of all, we were following the religion of our forefathers, which was horrible. It was bad and it was oppressive because we worshiped idols and statues and dead people. And, oh, it was terrible. We just did what we found them doing. Oppression on the women, it was terrible. Killing little babies just because they were girls. Drinking alcohol until you become crazy and fall down. Taking off your clothes and walking around in circles. We did all of these things and worse. And they began to talk about how bad it used to be. Then they said, one from us. He began to call us back to the original religion of our forefathers. The religion of Abraham. The religion of Ismail. And the religion of worshiping only one God without any partners. And being good to our parents. And good to our friends and relations that we have. Being fair in their dealings with each other. Being kind. Being shy. The things that Muhammad called to were the very important thing that all of the Muslims should be featuring even today. This should be our concern as Muslims even today, because if we would follow that, look how good it would be. And the people would see what's the real Islam. But all this did, at this point, was to make the Qurayshi go more crazy. The envoy was like, no, wait a minute. No, you didn't understand. No, they ran away, they did so and so. But the king, he said, hold on a second. Now I've heard what they have to say. And they're fine with me. They have their religion. They're trying to live in a better way. They're under my protection. Okay, king, that's cool. Because he is a king. You don't cross the king. Whether you want to or not, that's not the way to go. So they left. And they made a new plan. They came back the next day. And when they came back the next day, they said, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you. They also insult Jesus. What? Yes. They say he wasn't on the cross. They say he's not a God. He's not a son of a God. They say things against Jesus. So the king said, hold on a second. Bring them back again. When they brought them this time, he said, what does your prophet say about our Jesus? And then one of them, he stood and he read from Surah Maryam, chapter 19 of the Quran. Very beautiful things that we know about Jesus, his miracle birth, and the statements that he makes about believing in God as one. And as the king listened to this, he began to cry. And he became very, very happy. And he reached down and he picked up a straw. And he said, you know, the length of this straw is longer than what this is away from what we have. Meaning, this is so close to exactly what we have. The closest in belief to us must be these Muslims. That's what he's telling those people. He said, they are fine with me and they have my protection still. And by the way, take your gifts and take your bribes and take yourselves and get back in your boat and go back where you came from. Disgraced. And so they were. Very disgraced. When they arrived back, they couldn't hold up their head. What happened? Don't talk to us. What happened? Where are the Muslims at? What happened?